1, what is your name, please?
My name is Kathleen Dooley.
Number 2.
My name is Kathleen Dooley.
Number 3.
My name is Kathleen Dooley.
Only one of these people is the real Kathleen Dooley and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Film and television producer David Niven Jr. Actress and recording star Gloria Loring. Four-time Super Bowl champion and MVP Lynn Swan. And to tell the truth's very own Kitty Carlisle. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Gordon Elliott.
Oh, thank you and welcome. And good morning, panel.
Oh, good morning.
Now, Lynn, the football season's almost about to start. Who's your pick? Let's commit yourself now.
Well, I hate to admit it because they've already won 4 Super Bowls, but I think the San Francisco 49ers have another shot.
Okay.
First team to win 5.
49ers. We'll put that in cement. Oh, yes?
I'm holding bets. Just give me your money now.
Okay. And, David, the cricket. Who do you think will win the World Cricket this year?
Not Australia.
No.
Australia, you won that last year.
We did indeed.
West Indians will win it again.
All righty, the West Indies. And we'll be
Yes.
showing you demonstrations of cricket later in the program. Okay. Let's get right to the story presented by our first team of challengers, all 3 of whom claim to be Kathleen Dooley, and here is her story. I, Kathleen Dooley, was jilted. Just weeks before the wedding, the groom got cold feet and walked out. My heart was broken, but more than that, I had paid the caterer, and it was too late to cancel. I vowed to make the best of a bad situation. Years ago, I was homeless and was taken in by the Salvation Army, so I decided to return the favour. I invited 150 homeless people to my non-wedding reception. Yes, the party was a great success. And since then, I've got all kinds of mail and, unbelievably, a few proposals of marriage. Do I feel happy that the groom left me standing at the altar? Now I do. Signed, Kathleen Dooley. Challengers, we'll find out more about our jilted bride right after this. Welcome back to Tell the Truth. All right, panel, these 3 people all claim to be Kathleen Dooley, who threw a wedding reception for the homeless. Let's start the questioning now with Kitty Carlisle.
Thank you. Number 1, how did you find out that he'd walked out on you?
He told me.
Where?
It was 8 weeks before the wedding. He called me up and said, I don't think I can handle your instant family since I do have children.
Ah, thank you. Number 2, who's General Booth?
General Booth?
No? Number 3, where did you have the party?
It was called The Club in Birmingham, Alabama.
I think I read about this. Number 1, where did you go when you were taken in by the Salvation Army?
To a shelter.
In where?
Whereabouts? Okay, time's up, sorry. Lynn?
Number 2, what made you homeless?
I was divorced from my first husband, or separated from my first husband, and I was not on speaking terms with my parents and had nowhere to stay.
Number 3, how long were you homeless?
Oh, for 2 days.
For 2 days?
Yeah.
Okay, not a long time, that's good.
No.
Number 1, what's the lowest rank in the Salvation Army?
I don't know.
You don't know, okay. Let's see.
Yes, Sting, Saved by the Bell. You and Mike Tyson both. Gloria.
Number 1, do you know where your previous groom is now?
I sure do.
And number 1, what is he doing now?
He is a marriage counselor.
I love it. Number 2, have you had any of these proposals you look upon with favor?
No, not really.
None of them. All right. Number 3, how did you find out who of these homeless people to invite? How did you choose that 150?
Well, I didn't choose them. I called some umbrella agencies in the Birmingham area, and they actually made the plans for me.
Tremendous. David Niven Jr.
Number 1, where did the non-wedding reception take place?
It was at Spring Valley Lake Country Club.
Is that in what particular state?
It's in Victorville, California.
Oh, we've moved from one side of the country to the other. Number 2, are you married now?
No, I'm not.
Number 3, when you were homeless, it was only for 2 days?
Yeah, it was 2 days.
Well, how come for such a short amount of time?
Because I eventually broke down and called my mother.
Oh, isn't that sweet? And why did, number 1, why did the groom get cold feet? What did you do to upset him, or did he just...
He just couldn't handle. I have 4 children, and he decided
that was
the
it?
instant family wasn't for him.
It was a bit late to worry about it, wasn't it? I mean, you had 4 kids. Anyway,
yes.
Time is up, and it's time to vote for either number 1, number 2, or number 3. Our team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote with a guarantee of $1,000. And if the panel is filled completely, the team will receive $3,000. And if panel, you're ready to cast your ballots, we'll start with Kitty Carlisle.
This is a tough one. I really don't know. I think it may well be number 3. Number 2 didn't know who General Booth was, but that's not necessary for the Salvation Army. I think it's number 1. She has a sweet face and would have really wanted to pay back her stay with the Salvation Army.
Okay, there you go. General Booth, of course, was the man who founded the Salvation Army. Lynn.
Well, based on the fact that number 2 didn't know the answer to Kitty's question, and number 1 didn't know the answer about the lowest rank in the Army, we went the extremes. They didn't have the answers. I went to number 3, being perfectly logical and rational about the whole thing.
That's right. Hell, I stayed in a Sheraton. I don't know who started that up either. Now, Gloria.
Good thing you didn't say Marriott.
Yeah, right.
I found both number 1 and number 2 to be very believable, and just something about 150 homeless people in the location you were talking about, number 3. It sounded like a reasonable amount of people to me, and so I went with number 3. We'll see.
Number 3 going very well. David.
Well, I thought number 3 was believable. I got confused by number 2 also. But number 2 is dressed like she was to fool us.
Right.
And I think number 1 is the winner. Whoops, number 1 is here. Number 1 is the winner.
You believe number 1. Okay, looks like, as you can see, number 1 has 2 votes. Number 2, all dressed up and nowhere to go. And number 3, 2 votes. Now it's time to find out who the real jilted bride is. Will the real Kathleen Dooley please stand up? Fantastic. Fantastic. Kathleen, I want to ask you a question. Was your intended really a marriage counselor?
He's a clinical psychologist with a PhD and does specialize in marital therapy.
Do you want to name him just for... No, really. Right. Hell, I think the public should know. Look, it's a wonderful thing that you did. And let's find out who our imposters really are. Number 1, you got 2 votes. What's your name? Who are you really?
My name is Dawn Miller, and I've been happily married for 16 years, and I sort mail for the post office.
Really? You could throw a bit of loose mail to number 2. Number 3, 2 votes. What do you do?
My name is Luann Wright, and I've been married for 8 years, and I'm an English tutor.
Congratulations. Thanks. Well, you achieved the near impossible. You stumped our panel, so you'll receive $3,000. And thank you very much, all of you, for being here with us on To Tell the Truth today. After these few words, we'll be right back with a man who flew the coop. We're back. Let's meet our next team of challengers.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Charles Bella.
Number 2.
My name is Charles Bella.
Number 3.
My name is Charles Bella.
It's up to you, panel, to locate the real Charles Bella, and here is his story. I, Charles Bella, was forced at gunpoint to fly my helicopter into a prison to help 3 convicts escape. A lady posing as a real estate agent hired me to fly over some remote ranch land. Shortly after takeoff, I found myself staring down the barrel of a .357 Magnum. She forced me to land inside the walls of the prison where the inmates jumped on board. A death-defying chase followed, and we almost collided with a police helicopter. I was shocked when I was arrested with the others, and I had to hire F. Lee Bailey to plead my case. The experience left me $500,000 in debt, but that was the price I had to pay for freedom. Signed, Charles Bella. challenges, and good luck. And let's start the questioning with David Niven Jr.
Thank you. Number one, what make of helicopter were you flying?
It was an Aerospatiale Gazelle.
Number two, where was this prison?
The prison was in New Mexico.
And number three, as you only took on board 3 inmates, how did you stop the others from getting on the helicopter? I'm sure they would like to go for that ride.
I didn't. There was an additional passenger, and the other inmates threw him off.
The other inmates threw him off. All right, and number one, how did you choose F. Lee Bailey to defend you?
He's the best there was, and he's a helicopter pilot. I figured he'd understand my case.
All right,
Okay, I'm sorry. Gloria Loring, you're next.
All right. Number one, where is F. Lee Bailey's office located?
Well, I don't know. He came to me in New Mexico.
Number two, what's the name of the prison you landed within the walls of?
It's the New Mexico State Prison at Santa Fe.
Okay. Number three, what was the woman's relationship to those 3 inmates?
I believe she was a boyfriend, or girlfriend to him.
One of them was,
one of them.
okay.
It was a fly-by-night relationship.
Number one, what was the pivotal point in your defense on which your freedom was based?
Well, there was no question of the defense. It was, dozens of witnesses saw that I was not a willing participant in this. I was handcuffed to the chopper.
Number two, why...
Okay, we've got to leave it there. I'm sorry, Gloria. Lynn.
Number two, what is an auto-rotation landing?
An auto-rotation landing is when you lose power. It's kind of like a glide in a regular airplane.
Okay. Number three, does a Bell Jet Ranger seat 4 or 6 people?
Standard, I believe it's 6, but it can be configured to 4.
Okay. Number one, where is your training at?
I was trained in Tucson, Arizona at Eagle Field.
Okay. Number two, F. Lee Bailey must have given you a discount for only $500,000. Do you still owe him the money?
Some, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Kitty Carlisle.
Thank you. Number three, what were the inmates that you rescued unwillingly? What were they there for?
I believe rape, murder, and larceny.
And number two, what was the lady's relationship? You said there was no drugs involved.
No, not that I know of. She was the girlfriend of one of the guys.
And number one, why was it necessary to hire F. Lee Bailey? Why didn't you just say to the police, look, I see the gun, and I didn't do this on purpose?
Ma'am, I think the police knew it was the prosecutor I was having trouble with.
And the rest of the prisoners were very annoyed. They had standby tickets, and they didn't even get a refund. Time's up, panel. It's time to vote for either number one, number two, or number three. Our team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote with a guarantee of $1,000. And if the panel is filled completely, the team will receive $3,000. And that's happened before. Panel, are you ready to cast your ballot? And if so? Oh, okay, then we'll go to break. No, sir. David Niven Jr., we'll start with you.
All right, first of all, I thought it was number one. And then I got confused when he said he was handcuffed in his seat when the police arrived. And then number three came up with this reason of how he kept the other prisoners from getting on, so only number two made sense to me.
Okay. Good work, investigator. Gloria.
Okay, number three had terrific fast answers. I have no idea if they were right about helicopters, but then he could have some other, it would be smart to have an imposter who had a lot of knowledge in that area, and I went for number two, and I don't know why.
Oh, great. Lynn.
Well, I didn't go for number two, and I didn't go for number one, not for any other reason other than the fact that they were very well rehearsed, but number three, when I asked him about the Bell Jet Ranger, he said a standard Bell Jet Ranger because there are several different types, so I just kind of went on that answer and picked number three.
I thought the Long Ranger had 6-seater for convenience.
Oh, I hope you're not right, because I didn't think number three had the right answers, and I didn't like number one being handcuffed to his seat. And I thought when you asked that question about whatever it was, about landing...
Auto-rotation landing, yes.
I thought that sounded so legitimate that I voted for number two.
There we go. It looks like we could have a stump panel if it's number one. The votes are all in. If you have a look, number one has no votes. Number two has 3 votes. And number three has 1 vote. So let's find out who the real helicopter pilot is. Will the real Charles Bella please stand up? Excellent. Charles, what's happened to your life since you've got a $500,000 debt? Obviously, your helicopter's no longer yours. What do you do these days?
Well, I still have the helicopter, but it's not repaired. I do flying for other people. I'm up in Alaska right now hauling fish.
Okay, but you still owe a substantial amount of money, I'd imagine, F. Lee Bailey.
Yeah, it's probably doubled about now what the what the initial cost was.
So you're looking at $1 million?
Probably, yes, sir.
Unbelievable. I hope our small gesture has helped you in some way, just to keep you going. But look, number one, who are you and what do you really do?
My name is Dave Gee, and I'm a serviceman for the Southern California Gas Company.
Putting a lot of hot air into this program. Number 2, 3 votes. What do you do? Who are you really?
My name is Bill Deacle, and I'm a music arranger, and I write country songs.
Well...
Sounds like a country song.
Well, there were 3 votes at $500. So a vote, of course, meaning 500, will receive 1,500 as a team to you. And thank you all for being here today on To Tell the Truth. Congratulations. We've added something new on To Tell the Truth. It's called One-on-One, and we'll be back to play it with someone from our studio audience right after this. Welcome back to Tell the Truth, and now it's time to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience. Burton, who do you have for us?
Well, Gordon, I'd like you to meet Kelly McDaniel from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Welcome, Kelly.
Hi,
Kelly, here is your chance to play a game we know as one-on-one. I want you to meet a lady with 2 stories to tell you. Joanne Woodward. Welcome, Joanne. Now, Kelly, Joanne is going to tell you 2 stories, only one of which is the truth. If you can spot that true story, you'll win $500. Joanne, what is your first story?
As you've heard, my name is Joanne Woodward. I have organized a club called The Name's the Same. All the members share the name of a famous celebrity. I met my husband there, and his name is Paul Newman.
Now, that may or may not be the truth, Kelly, so let's listen to Joanne's second story.
I am the hostess of a weekly radio talk show. It's the only radio show in Southern California to deal with just one topic, sex.
Panel, to help Kelly win that $500, you'll ask one question about each story. Let's start with story number 1, and of course, Kitty Carlisle.
Thank you. Is having a famous name a help or a hindrance in your life?
To me, it's been a big help because I really admire Joanne Woodward and the work she does.
Lynn.
Whose name is most copied?
I think Paul Newman is one of the most copied names I've ever heard.
What are some of the other famous names in your club?
We have Greer Garson, we have Marilyn Chambers, we have Ginger Rogers, we have Will Shakespeare.
David.
Is there a David Niven who's a member of your club?
We have openings for one.
Okay, Kelly, you've heard all the questions about Joanne's first story. Now, story number 2, the radio sex talk show. I'm sorry to put this on you, Kitty, but could you ask something?
Oh, yes, I could. Are people in general happy with sex or unhappy?
People have varying degrees of questions, but most people are happy with the amount of sex that they have in their lives.
Lynn?
Up to what age is a man capable of having children? Just in case. I mean, I don't have any yet.
A man's capable of having children as long as he's able to perform sexually.
Gloria.
All right. When exactly are you on the air?
I'm on the air in the morning, on Wednesday mornings, once a week.
David?
Dr. Ruth started on the radio. Has she ever been on your show?
Dr. Ruth has not been a guest on my show.
Okay, now you've heard the cross-examination, Kelly. Is Joanne, in your opinion, the founder of the Name is the Same club, or is she the hostess of the all-sex radio talk show?
Well, I don't think she could be one of the only talk shows in Southern California, so I'd say she's the founder of the Name's the Same club.
Okay, now, if you're right, you win $500. Joanne, what is your true story?
To tell you the truth, I am the hostess of a radio talk show.
I'm sorry, Kelly. You were wrong, but we do have a very nice gift for you. And thank you for playing one-on-one. And Joanne, for stumping the panel, you'll receive $1,000. But I've got to ask you, what's the most commonly asked question you get on your program?
Many people ask me how often during the day it's normal to have sexual relations.
And?
And I tell them as often as their busy schedule will allow.
Okay, audience, go home. No. We'll be right back after these few words. Well, panel, that's it for another edition. Tell me, Gloria, would you ever call in a radio talk show?
Oh, yeah, I think possibly. I've never done it yet, but I find them fascinating.
Yes? On a show such as the woman who we've just had on?
I'm not sure. I mean, nothing to do with her. I'm not sure that I would call and
talk about
about
Kitty?
sexual.
I called in a lot of talk shows if they have people I know on, like Mark Goodson. When he was on, I think, Larry King, I called in to ask him a question.
Oh,
I wouldn't call a sex show, no. I think I know too much about it.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us today. We'll see you tomorrow on To Tell the Truth. Have a lovely...
It's beats opera.
And
it's beats bingo every night.
The game.
It's Blingo.
It's Word Game Heaven tonight at 7, only on GSN.
GSN.